Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're all right. I know you're probably all tired, so I hope my, young, handsome, charming looks and what I've got to say keeps you engaged. Yeah, Mrs. Flowers, thank you for having me. It's a privilege to be back because obviously I was a student here. And usually I'm performing in front of hundreds and thousands of people and with my own music, but I've not done something like this before where I'm just speaking to people and, you're all like locked into me. So I'm a bit nervous, but I'll be all right. So the first part of my speech is dealing with challenges within the education system in an inclusive way. And I spoke to a few pupils at Carr Manor. I've got a few family members here as well. And I got some of their thoughts on what helps them in that way. So firstly, what a lot of them said was speaking to their coach or head of year, they felt like those two people, they addressed issues directly and much faster. They also said when speaking to restorative practice reps, they feel like both sides of an issue is addressed equally and fairly, as well as they feel more comfortable and equal to RP reps when speaking to them. But at times with teachers, they feel like the teachers are not as attentive or they're acting from a place of authority rather than having a conversation with that pupil and viewing them as a human being, so they don't feel like it's a level and equal conversation. They also mentioned that when the pupils have faced challenges in lesson, either with the teacher or the subject, they mentioned these things that I'm about to list help them. The first one, group activities in lesson, interventions and revision clubs after school. Within the group activities, they felt a strong sense of involvement, and that helped to build relationships between classmates. The interventions also helped with the pupils learning when there were difficulties in their lessons, because it was more of an intimate approach to teaching. Plus hearing all of the pupils share their answers collectively. During the intervention, it allowed certain pupils to feel more comfortable and a part of the session. One of the things that they did say was to keep the group activities going throughout the latter years in school, because they felt like as they were getting older, the group activities were reducing, so they found a lot more difficulties seeing the group activities lessen. Moving on to my school experience, I thoroughly enjoyed my time at Carr Manor. I learned a lot here, and I'm very grateful to, just come up through, the years in Carr Manor. And I had a very similar view to the pupils that I spoke to, and I agree with their points because what they mentioned really helped me during school as well. However, what I would have loved to have done more, similar to RP, when there was a breakdown in a relationship between myself and a teacher, for instance, what would have benefited me is sitting down with that teacher in a calm environment alongside my coach, head of year, another RP representative, or just another teacher I felt comfortable with, and expressing how I really felt about what had gone on with that teacher and hearing how they felt as well and their thoughts, so that we came to a mutual understanding and so that we could move forward well and rebuild that relationship after. That would have really helped me. I'll give you an example, and it's funny because as I was writing this, I never knew what teachers would be in school today, and this... and the teacher's here, and I already did. I told her. But in year 11, I was excluded and sent to PEP for swearing at a teacher. And I hadn't been excluded before or involved in any extreme trouble in the past. I was in the wrong completely, and the only benefit from me going to PEP was that I never wanted to be in there again. But From what I can recall of that moment, when I came back to school, I still never had a conversation with the teacher involved about the incident, and I still felt very much of a way because nothing had been resolved, in my opinion. I wasn't able to express how I felt about what had gone on, and nor did the teacher. So our relationship never felt repaired. It just felt like it was just something I had to get on with without sitting down and speaking to the teacher about how I made them feel and how I felt about it all. So on to my next point. I spoke to a teaching assistant in the primary phase of Carr Manor about dealing with difficulties within education in an inclusive way. And they said, a few of their points was, one-to-one sessions really helped ease some of the pupils' difficulties with certain subjects. But also they mentioned building genuine relationships with pupils helps to build a mutual respect. And I can speak firsthand. When pupils respect a teacher and they respect you, when they feel understood, they feel more inclined to listen and actually speak about how they're genuinely feeling, opposed to keeping it in and hiding it. They also gave an example of, in year 3, a pupil came into school annoyed because his grandma didn't let him play on his PS3 for long before school. If there was a way his grandma communicated that with the school, the teachers could have already understood how the child was feeling and the reason behind it, because the young boy didn't want to tell anyone why he was upset. So linking to that point, if parents and family members were to play the proactive role in the pupils' learning, where they met with teachers regularly and often had discussions about the pupil, it could help the teachers understand the pupils more and stay on top of everything, especially behavior. So if, for instance, a pupil's parent was just to tell the teachers what had gone on at home at the weekend or the day before, it just give that teacher the understanding of how to deal with that pupil even better and just understand them. I'm coming to a close. It's gone really quick. I thought finally, inclusive ways of working in the city. This is just my opinion, just a few things here. One thing that really stands out to me is it takes a village to raise a child. And I've seen a group of fathers on social media. I think they all lived in Texas. And they wanted to combat the amount of fights taking place in their children's school. So they all came together and formed an allegiance where they now work in the school by safeguarding the corridors and places within the school. And they host workshops and meetings for other parents and teachers to attend and discuss ideas to combat challenges in the area they live in and the school. My point is, I'm not saying like there's going to be fathers that want to come into Carr Manor or where you guys work and do that. But my point is there are parents out there willing to work at tackling challenges in the city and within the education system alongside you guys. An inclusive way to deal with challenges in education, in my opinion. From when I've spoke to a lot of young kids and thinking of my own school experience as well, potentially having a go-to person within school, for instance, a counselor, I feel like that could have very much helped a lot of people I grew up with, especially myself, and just from the people I've spoke to. Many young people yearn to have someone to trust during the years of school, and I was one of them. I kept a lot to myself throughout school, and as a result, I had moments when I'd act out in a very aggressive manner. I wanted to express myself, but I didn't feel like I could completely trust anyone to do that. As I've gotten older, spoken to members of my family in school, and listened to a number of pupils, what often arises in these conversations is the need for trust, the need to speak, and the need to be heard. None of us know the internal difficulties a pupil is facing or what exactly is going on at home. To conclude, my mum speaks to a lot of young people in school during her work as a hairdresser. She's always wanted to become a counsellor and now is currently studying that. But a big motivation behind her taking the steps to become a counsellor was the fact so many young people that she spoke to at work would say to her, "I wish I had someone to speak to you. I wish I had someone to speak to like you in school." Going through school, being comfortable and having trust to speak to someone can massively combat difficulties and behavioral difficulties within the education system and within the city. Thank you for listening.